The ongoing war between Israel and Hamas has entered day 25. Smoke continues to rise over the Gaza skyline as loud blasts could be heard in the Palestinian enclave following expansion of ground operations by Israeli forces. This as the IDF continues to strike military targets belonging to Hamas. Israel's military appears to be approaching Gaza City from at least 3 sides. Photos, videos and satellite imagery show lines of armored vehicles advancing from Gaza's northern border and taking up positions near a major road farther south. Large groups of Israeli tanks and other armored vehicles are making their way deep into Gaza as Israel's military continues to strike nearby buildings from the air. This is a report that has been sent by India Today's Shivaru from Kibbutz Nir Oz. Take a look.
Just a couple of kilometers from the Gaza Strip, we're once again at another Israeli kibbutz. This one is called Nir Oz. But this is actually unlike any other kibbutz. And I'm going to show you a little bit about the damage that happened here, because we've been told it is particularly bad. And I've visited 4 of the 20-odd kibbutzes that were attacked by the Hamas on October the 7th, and I can tell you already, first impressions, this is particularly bad. You can see, the spray paint by the terrorists that they put on each door as they walked in. This is one of the houses of a tiny little kibbutz where 400 people lived. And the reason why it was particularly badly damaged is because about 100 of the people who lived in this little kibbutz were either murdered by the Hamas or were taken hostage. We're told by the IDF here that about a third of all hostages currently in Hamas captivity are from this kibbutz alone. That's about 70 to 80 of the total number of hostages are just from Nir Oz, this particular kibbutz where I'm standing right now. It's just ash and dust. There's nothing else here. Everything's been reduced completely to rubble and fire debris. These are the remnants of not just firearms, but a place that's been completely torched. Now, the Nir Oz kibbutz had about 400 people, very small, just a few houses, 400 people in all. Most of the people working and living in this kibbutz were farmers, agrarian, entrepreneurs. Many of them, were told, grew avocados. Some of them worked in the nearby sealants and paint factory, not very far from here. Fire was the main weapon that was used here. We've seen some bullet holes in some of the walls, but it is very clear that in this particular kibbutz, arson was the main weapon wielded by the Hamas terrorists. They came in with lighters, lighter fuel, and they just set everything ablaze, which is why nearly all, 99% of the damage here you see is all fire damage. When they said fields of ash, this is what they meant. This is what they meant. This is the inside of somebody's house. Once again, you can't even make out what everything is right now. Now, residents of all of the kibbutzes that we've reported from over the last few days, none of them, obviously, understandably, justifiably, remain over here. They've all left. Many of them are staying in hotels or with relatives in places like Tel Aviv or Jerusalem, very far from the Gaza Strip. And that's because their houses look like this. That's because their entire livelihoods have been destroyed in just a few hours of senseless carnage. Anything that they look at here will remind them of the life they built with their children, even as they grieve, because even children were slaughtered in this particular kibbutz. The ash is flying into my eyes, and I don't know when the smell of soot, the smell of decay, the smell of death will disappear from kibbutzes of this kind. But this is really what the reality of kibbutz is. The world sees a stream of images from kibbutzes of this kind. What happens to all of those people? What happens to the civilians who wanted nothing to do with war, who wanted nothing to do with anything but to have a really, really tranquil life, raising their kids, and hopefully a better future ahead of them. And all that's left is this. This is all that's left. Now I remember just a couple of days ago that a Hamas terrorist leader was on a big screen in Kerala addressing a political gathering, and it's been defended by a certain section in the country. And I haven't said anything about it so far because, I'm far away in a conflict area. Tempers run high. People have strong views. And I saw a section of India's so-called liberal class, making various comparisons of the Hamas and Israel with the British, and pretty much just normalizing a Hamas terrorist leader making a speech in Kerala, in a country like India. Not outright criticizing it, but, saying, "Theek hai, Hamas ka aadmi aaya aur speech diya." And I remember feeling not rage, because rage is a weak word, especially when you're in a war zone and reporting from a place that looks like this. But I just remember thinking, these are people who've never seen conflict. These are people who've never probably gotten out of their living rooms, sitting at their keyboards, thinking that their political views on social media count for a lot and that they're so influential. These are people who care nothing for the dead. They believe that the Israel-Palestine conflict is just another, cynical battleground for their shallow biases and prejudices. But the pain and the suffering of the victims of Hamas terror is real. If you cannot condemn Hamas terror while supporting the Palestinian struggle, then you have no right to speak up. If you don't feel pain for the dead here at this kibbutz, Nir Oz, and all of the other kibbutzes that we've been reporting from, then you have no business to say anything about this conflict. If you believe Hamas and the Palestinian people are the same, it's time that you shut up and sat on your words. Because it is possible, it is absolutely possible, and I've demonstrated that with my reporting here, with all the analysis we've had here on India Today. And we're the only channel reporting, remember, both from Israel as well as the Gaza Strip and the West Bank and all the Palestinian territories, that it is possible to condemn terror while also supporting a two-state solution, while also supporting a peaceful and sustainable future for both Israel and Palestine. There are haters, there are people so narrow, so completely far gone and soulless to believe that this has something to do with their narrow-mindedness. Ignore them, because Israel and Palestine both deserve better. At the kibbutz Nir Oz, 2.5 kilometers from the Gaza Strip, this is Shiv Arur for India Today.